chip there. Now take out the old controller chip. This is the old one, so we put that there just to show you that I have two of them. That's the one we're taking out, and this is the one we're going to take in. Make sure that the key is keyed up. I'm just going to move that so you can see it. So you want to make sure, see the key down here? Make sure that that sort of crescent there is lined up with that, and insert it firmly into the board, and there shouldn't be any problems. So now, so we can get that in there. Get it on this side, it's all in there, it's all in there. Now let's hope that this solves our problem. It's the same revision, same part number and so on, so in theory it should work, but really there's only one way to find out. And actually one way we can find out very easily is if I put the mouse back in and turn the machine on, and I can actually start typing on the computer. So what I did was actually restarted the setup. I deleted the Windows directory because I only put one floppy disk in. I changed the keyboard controller chip, and all I've done is basically change that from standard to AST, but the mouse was detected automatically. So yeah, there's your problem, keyboard controller chip. So it's always a theory to keep things simple. So as I said to you in the last videos there, the first thing to do is to actually check and see if that keyboard controller chip is at fault. It controls a lot of systems within the computer, so it is one of the more important chips on these old AT style machines. And you can do that simply with a bit of software. Run a test and it'll let you know. But you'll know there's a fault in it because you'll have glitches in Windows with the mouse, especially with Windows you'll have problems, not so much with DOS and that. That's probably how it never got flagged realistically the last time this machine was on. That fault could have been on this from the get-go, or from when I received the machine. I've never really run Windows on it, and people that had it before me ran DOS on it, never ever put Windows on this machine. It was running Novell NetWare as far as I remember, so it was probably never flagged. It could have been faulty from the factory for all we know. So yeah, interesting, but there you are. So it was just a matter of changing out that keyboard controller chip. Not so much a problem back in the day. Like I said, you get two chips in the you get two chips for the BIOS in this case, one for a normal machine, one BIOS chip, one keyboard chip. Change them out, bang, Bob's your uncle. But in this day and age, unless you buy the whole board, it's going to be very hard to get a chip. But I'll see if I can get a whole board for an AST computer. There is one company in America that I bought a few AST pieces off before, so maybe they have the motherboard for it. Only problem is delivery charges are 30-40 quid. Import duties another 30-40 quid. Do I want to spend that on this machine? Not really, no. And one of the main reasons why I don't want to do that is because it's jammed with 4 megabytes of RAM. I can't upgrade that unless I can find the specific AST RAM for it, or one of the RAM expansion cards. And I have two of them, but they're not compatible with this particular machine. They're designed for a different machine. So 4 megabytes is all it is. So anyway, we'll continue on with the Windows installation. When you get to disk number 2, it will then try to run the Windows operating system. Look at this. We don't have a mouse. Hasn't installed the driver yet. I presume, I hope. Yeah, that's all now. Anyway, it doesn't matter, we use the tab key. So our full name, we'll put it down as that, of course. And then the company, we put it down as AST RESEARCH Research, and product number. Oh, more. That'll do, yeah. You'll find that product number on the documentation. So we're going to go with that. Set up the components. We leave that as it is. We don't have a printer. That's fine. That one's okay. Use the tab key to get through here, just in case you want to know. Again, that's all fine. You see there, our hard drive, it's only like 5 megabytes. It's 513. This is the problem you see with the 81 megabyte hard drive we had originally. And only had Windows 3.1 on that machine, but we had 85 megabytes in total. So 5 to 10, depending on what way we set up. So let's say 5, right? We go with what's here. So let's say 6. Okay, 6, right? 6. So 6 was taken up. There was another 6 or so taken up with the DOS. Actually, maybe a bit less. Let's say 5. Let's say 10 in total. so 10 megabytes in total taken up with the operating system. You then have the swap file then, which is another 12 megabytes thereabouts. So now you're up to 24 megabytes, let's say. So 24 megabytes was used up by the operating system before you had any chance to start installing stuff. So you're left with, you know, anywhere from 50 to 60 megabytes of hard drive space to play with. Okay, so I'm going to add an adapter. I'm going to see if I can add one from the disk, and we're going to try and use the driver on this floppy disk. This does have a driver, hopefully, for the network card. This one here. Keep going past it. Is it happy with that? Soon find out. It is. Okay, and then we're going to basically add a protocol, unlisted or updated protocol. I'm going to put our TCP/IP disk in. Okay, so we'll do a browse. No, we don't need to do browsing then. We should be able to just press OK. Yep, happy with that. And I'll transfer over those files. And they're all on the disk this time, so we shouldn't have some major error. As I said before, on a modern system, all we need is the TCP/IP. We don't need XPS, IPX, or NEPWI. It's best to have them turned off unless you actually need them or something requires them. The IPX, SPX protocol, the likes of Duke Nukem actually needs it, as I mentioned before. But you can. This machine is never going to be running Duke Nukem, so no point in having that on it. This machine would be barely able to run Windows, never mind Duke Nukem. But let's not worry about that too much. So yeah, TCP/IP is all we need. We've used the disk, the 3Com disk driver, so with a bit of luck this will all work out. Right. So once it's installed that, we can come back to this window here. We should be able to go to that one and then click remove. Yes, I do. And then I want to go back to close. That's okay. And then I want to go to continue. Now, the username we're going to put down here, we're going to put down as admin, okay? It might save us problems with that, with the external hard drive later on. And we keep it the same number. We keep that the same computer name, so we know where we are on the system, because we've already shared it inside on the Windows 2000 machine. So that should section here now. We can set up whether we want to enable DHCP or not. Generally, you would have DHCP enabled, allowing the machine to automatically contact your switch or contact your server if it's basically handing out DHCPs, or some cases you want to basically have this assigned a static address. So you generally put a static address on the likes of a printer or an external, let's say, camera system, where you need to have that address always in the same place. It's not much use having moving around the network. Some modern software, like from the likes of Hewlett Packard, will automatically detect the printer, let's say, and doesn't matter what IP address it's on, it'll automatically say, okay, it's 25 today, oh, it's 24 tomorrow. But generally, the likes of printers or static CCTV cameras, you put in a static IP address and leave it at that. We're going to enable DHCP, so we're going to say yes to that. So it's going to automatically configure. It's connected in at the moment to the network, so that should be able to get that IP address straight away now. If the cable is disconnected, it'll give you an error. You can then put in the default gateway down the bottom here if you wish. The default gateway you can set up from your switch. You have a look at it, or your router that's provided. And again, here, this is the next screen. It says make modifications for you or do them yourself. Let Windows do the modifications for you. Unless you're like real pain, it'll add in what it needs to add in, so let it do it, No point in you doing it, let the system do it. You can go ahead then, and if there's a problem or something you need to change, you can go ahead and you can change that. Now, one of the things that hasn't installed here is the sound card driver for Windows. The reason being is that we hadn't got the sound card installed, the software at the time of Windows being installed, but we can go ahead and we can do that. So we're going to get it to search that for programs. The D drive is there because the CD-ROM drive is installed, so it's going to search the hard drive now. It's going to find a few. It's going to find a few programs on there. One of them would be Microsoft Backup, Ping Utility. Yeah, let's go with that. One of them would be Microsoft Backup, and you know, Mr. Watson and Microsoft Antivirus. So we'll add them all. It should automatically detect them and put them in for us. Applications, setting them up for us. Nice one. So that's that then. So we skip the tutorial or do the tutorial. You can then have a choice then between restart the computer or return to MS-DOS. And we need to restart the computer. So take all the floppy disks out of the drives. We're going to restart it so the machine will be able to then run Microsoft Windows for Workgroups 3.11 without any problem. So to share this hard drive, we click on the C drive here. We then go up and we click on this here. We choose a share name, we type in the comment, which I just did, full, reshare startup, make sure that's ticked, press OK, and down below here this will appear. And you'll see it's basically shared as AST 386. So if I then want to look and find a external hard drive, so I've got my MyBook World here on the system, I click on that, it says me typing it in, see, remember we typed it in last time? Click on this. We then, that's okay, press OK, it'll now try to get onto it. That's onto it straight away. Now the reason why it's onto it straight away this time, we don't have to type any password in, is because we have basically used a username and password that it wants as our login or sign in for the actual operating system. So we're no longer going to need to type in the password and use them every time. It's not very secure nowadays to have it like that, but it works for this system, and it doesn't really matter to us for what the purposes we're doing. So basically when you're logging into Windows for Workgroups for the first time, you have an option of a username and a password. The username we previously set up, and type in the username, type in a password. It'll say, do you want to save this? You say yes, and that's it. Then we can browse this external hard drive. So what we want off here is the video card driver. So we're going to go and get that, and we'll install the video card, and we'll be back with that one in a few minutes. Once we have our location of our video card software, we can just basically grab them and drop them onto the C drive. It'll say this, you say yes, it'll then transfer them over for you. And once they're transferred over, then we can go ahead and run the Windows setup and choose to install the graphics card driver, which we'll show you in a moment. Okay, so the software is now basically transferred over. So we come back out here with the Windows setup. Display, so options, change system settings. VGA, click on this fella. Down to the very bottom, other disk. We're now going to type in where that directory was. Let's have a look, see what that was. Don't want to be too buried either. Okay, so S3_V7, so let's do that. So C:\S3_V7 and press OK. We'll just leave it at the top one. We actually have 1 megabyte on this card, but we'll just leave it as that. There's not a few options there anyway. Okay. Okay. Now we'll install the graphics card driver. So it's going to ask to restart the computer, and we're going to say yes to that. And when we come back into Windows, we'll have a machine that's now running with the full colour. So it's back in here to Windows, as I was saying to you. So basically, what we're doing here is we're using our username and our password for our external hard drive as our login to Windows for Workgroups. It basically means that every time we log in, it can log into the external hard drive and there's no issues. It's not going to glitch out on us. So, makes life easier. Anyway, colour's working as you can see. So, we'll go ahead and we'll start installing the sound card driver. That's the next thing. So to install the sound card, we went back into the SB16 directory, and we went ahead and we typed in install when we were in that directory, and this little basic menu pops up. So what we want to do now is we want to install the sound card software, and to do that we're just going to now press enter. So this should detect the fact that we have Windows installed now and allow the installation of Windows. So you can see there now the card's audio path, Microsoft Windows 3.1 path, and the system boot up drive. Press enter. There we are. Audio software will be installed to the directory. Existing programs will be backed up to the directory. So that's basically it's going to basically back up the same files again, but yeah, it doesn't really matter. We can delete that directory when we're back in Windows. So now checking the audio card, obviously, see if it's there. It should be okay. Yep. So I'll say okay to that, and it's going to go ahead now and install the rest of the sound card. So as you can see there, it's basically changed the configure sys file, the execbat file, the Windows INI file, system INI file, and the control INI file. And this basically means that our Sound Blaster software will be installed in Windows, and we'll also have sound in Windows. So it saves us an awful lot of messing about in Windows itself. So it's automatically installing the software. So it makes life easier. So we're going to let it reboot by pressing F10, and we'll have a look in Windows to see if the sound is working. We've got the old reliable Canyon mid, so we'll just basically see if that plays. I think I have the sound on. No, speakers are off. It's playing anyway, so here we go. There you are. So that's it. That's the sound card installed, the video card installed, our network installed. So our machine is now running Windows for Workgroups. So what we do in the next video, I suppose, is we'll take a look at see if this machine can run any sort of demos, or see if we can run any sort of games, and that's basically all we can do. We can just hope for that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and please join me again, and we see if we can run something with 4 megabytes of RAM and a 386 CPU. So see you later. Bye bye.